When Kylian Mbappe joined Real Madrid, it put an end to a 4-year-long transfer saga that was both as dramatic as it was exhausting for football fans. But now it was finally over. Real Madrid had gotten their man. Mbappe wasn't just good, he was by far one of the best players in the world. Combining exceptional speed, clinical finishing, and fantastic technique, his ability to exploit defenses with explosive bursts of acceleration made him a near constant threat. Additionally, his intelligence off the ball, awareness, and unpredictable movement made it easy to slip away from defenses and put him in the position to score or create at will. Mbappe became PSG's all-time top goal scorer with 256 goals in 308 games. He featured in the Liga Team of the Year 7 times, the UCL Team of the Year 4 times, and finished as the Liga top goal scorer 6 times. So Real Madrid essentially got an attacking monster that can cut through a defense and score with ease, all for the low price of free 99. He was entering a world-class squad, seen as the third wave of Los Galacticos under Carlo Ancelotti, arguably one of the greatest managers of all time, with a reputation for letting his players play freely without tactical restrictions. So the Frenchman was therefore given sky-high expectations, where every pass, every goal, every touch would be under a microscope. Such was the hype. I mean, you had YouTubers, pundits, and journalists saying that Real Madrid would dominate football for years to come, and Mbappe would finally win the Ballon d'Or. Mbappe's first game for Los Blancos came in the UEFA Super Cup final against Atalanta, where he scored in a 2-0 win, securing his first European trophy. Looking back at his performance in that final, the Parisian looked like he was doing good on his promise. But then, things came to a halt. In La Liga, he looked nothing like the player he was at PSG. In his first 13 games, he only scored 6 goals, many of which were penalties. It was his worst goal-scoring run at club level since 2021. This was down to a couple of factors. First, he had a not-so-good habit of getting called offsides. A lot. There was that infamous El Clasico thrashing, where he was called offsides a record 8 times. Additionally, he just looked lost on the pitch, dribbling awkwardly and couldn't really find a rhythm. Considering he was expected to win the Ballon d'Or and hyped up as a game-changing signing, this was seen as a disappointment. So, what was the problem? Well, the Frenchman typically liked to drift out left to receive the ball in space and cut inside to score or assist a teammate. However, Vinicius Jr. already occupied those positions, as shown in this heat map. So to have both on the pitch, Ancelotti needed to play Mbappe up top as an out-and-out forward. This was a role that was unfamiliar with Mbappe. Awful runs, constant offsides, and horrible movement limited his output, making him more of a liability to the team rather than an asset. Additionally, his finishing ability had massively decreased. By late November, he had taken 57 total shots, which was the most of any player in Spain's top flight. In Europe's top 5 leagues, only Manchester City's Erling Haaland had taken more. Of Mbappe's 57 shots, just 27 were on target, giving him a hit rate of 47.4%. That put Mbappe 125th among the 461 forwards in Europe's top 5 leagues who played 5 or more games. Along with his scoring troubles, his chance creation and link-up play also suffered as a result. Now, it should also be mentioned that all of this could also be chalked down to a loss of self-confidence and the immense pressure he was under. This led to some absolutely horrible performances. There was the 4-0 demolition at the hands of Barcelona at the Santiago Bernabeu, where the Frenchman had a record 8 offside calls and hardly took a shot on goal. Not to mention the disaster class against Liverpool, where he struggled massively and missed a crucial penalty. His performance in that game was described as underwhelming and deprived of confidence. However, from December onwards, it seemed that he was getting into form. His finishing was more accurate, his link-up play and team chemistry, particularly with Jude Bellingham, became more apparent, his movement improved, and his dribbling ability seemed to have bounced back. From early December to late March, he grabbed 14 goals in 13 league games, including back-to-back braces and a hat-trick against Real Valladolid. This extended to the Champions League. In the group stage, he scored consecutive goals against Atalanta and RB Salzburg. But his most impressive performance came against Manchester City, demonstrating his ability to clutch up when it matters most. At the beginning of the match, Real Madrid utterly capitulated, conceding a 19th minute goal from Erling Haaland. But then the tide started to shift when Mbappe scored a volley to draw the game level, giving his teammates motivation to carry on. This resulted in a 3-2 victory for Real. But whatever hope there was of a potential City comeback, Mbappe quickly eliminated, scoring a hat-trick to seal a 3-1 victory at home. However, Real's season would take an embarrassing turn, to say the least. In the Champions League, Real beat rivals Atletico Madrid to progress to the quarterfinals, where they would face Arsenal. The Gunners had and still have a reputation for bottling, to say the least. Up to that point, they hadn't reached the Champions League quarterfinals since 2010. So when you put a team that has won 15 UCLs in total and 6 within the last decade versus a team that chokes when it matters most, what do you think will happen? That's right, Los Blancos would steamroll them. But you see, the UEFA scriptwriters had something different in mind. They wanted to restore the balance in the force and bring joy to everyone who wasn't a Real Madrid fan. 2 free kick goals from Declan Rice and Mikel Moreno's left-footed shot was enough for Arsenal to run away with a win at home. Going into the second leg, however, there was a media and fan frenzy. They were saying how Los Blancos have a different mentality now. 90 minutes at the Bernabeu is a long time, they proclaimed. There was an overwhelming feeling that the Merengues would make an example of Arsenal and run away with the win. Well, that didn't happen. In the second leg, Bukayo Saka opened the scoring, but just 2 minutes later, Vinny Jr. steals the ball from defender William Saliba right after kickoff and clenches the equalizer with a right-footed strike. Suddenly, there was hope and a sense of belief that Real Madrid could clutch up, and those hopes were quickly diminished when Gabriel Martinelli scored the winner. And just like that, when the full-time whistle blew, Madrid were knocked out. Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
Remontada, you little Madrid bastards.
What's crazy was that PSG, the team Mbappe was so willing to leave and take a pay cut just to win the Champions League with Madrid, is now in a Champions League final without Mbappe. Things would only get worse as Madrid would lose out on the La Liga title, the Copa del Rey, and the Supercopa de España finals, all to arch rivals Barcelona, giving them their first domestic treble in a decade. That means Real Madrid would end the season trophyless, despite having the most expensive squad in the world. Mbappe's first season I would describe as bittersweet. On the one hand, he turned his form around and broke Alfredo Di Stefano's 71-year-old record for the most debut goals by a Real Madrid player. He also became the first ever player to score 40 times for Madrid in a debut season, something not even Raúl, Zamorano, or Cristiano Ronaldo achieved. At the time of this recording, he is also expected to win the Pichichi Trophy as La Liga's top goalscorer for the season. However, Mbappe's role and impact still causes several problems for the squad. For one thing, Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. are both left-sided players, meaning when played together, they occupy the same space. The original plan was for Mbappe to lead the line as a traditional striker, with Vinicius and Rodrigo on the wings, and Jude Bellingham dropped into a more traditional midfield role. While Mbappe has managed to adapt and find individual success, the overall attacking setup has struggled to click. He often drifts out to the left, which disrupts the intended structure, and he doesn't consistently make the instinctive runs or provide the hold-up play typically expected from a conventional number 9. On the defensive side, Mbappe's lack of effort off the ball results in the team lacking cohesion in possession and often finding itself outnumbered when defending. While Mbappe has delivered in terms of goals, many of Real Madrid's broader issues stem from how his arrival has disrupted the overall balance of the team. Outside of Mbappe, Los Blancos have several other issues that need to be resolved. First is the midfield. With the retirement of Toni Kroos last season, he left the Madrid squad with a, Kroos-sized gap. The ease at which he set the tempo of matches and his wide range of passing ensured Madrid was always able to control games. Replacing a generational player isn't straightforward, but the fact that Madrid seemingly made no effort to do so has cost them dearly. Any sense of control from their games has disappeared, and until they can find a suitable replacement or adjust their tactical setup that allows them to consistently dominate games, they may struggle to compete at the very highest level in the future. Next is their defense and goalkeeper situation. Real Madrid's defensive performance this season has been a significant issue, with the team struggling against top sides and conceding more goals than usual. This stems from a lack of defensive stability, inconsistent goalkeeping due to injuries, and the impact of missing players. Throughout the season, Carlo Ancelotti has been rotating central defenders, including Antonio Rudiger, David Alaba, and Raul Asensio, creating a revolving door at the back. To make matters worse, Thibaut Courtois, Andre Lunin, and Fran Gonzalez have all had spells in goal, with Lunin especially conceding a high number of goals per game. This inconsistency in the goalkeeping position has added to the defensive woes and has made the defense even more vulnerable, whether it be counter-attacking teams such as Barcelona or possession-based teams such as Arsenal. The Spanish side was cut to pieces constantly. Speaking of Barcelona, the team under Hansi Flick was fantastic this season. They are an attacking juggernaut with a young core that shows no signs of slowing down. They won a domestic treble and were inches away from claiming a spot in the UCL final. Barcelona has demonstrated dominance over Real Madrid time and time again, winning all 4 El Clasico matches this season. This includes a 4-0 win at the Santiago Bernabeu, a 4-3 win at home, a 5-2 victory in the Supercopa de España final, and a 3-2 win in the Copa del Rey final. The Blaugrana beat Los Blancos in key metrics, including shots on target, passes per 90, and possession. They were also able to create overloads in wide areas, creating a gap between the wingers and fullbacks, and leaving fullbacks in a 2v1 or 3v1 situation. Additionally, intricate passing play and movement by Yamal, Rafinha, and Lewandowski allows them to slip away from the Real Madrid defense, leading to scoring chances. No matter how good Mbappe or any other of Madrid's attacking talents are, Barcelona's tactical setup and Madrid's lackluster midfield and defense led to key wins for the Catalan-based side. So it would seem like Xabi Alonso would be the right man to counteract this. Xabi Alonso's success at Leverkusen stemmed from a combination of strong tactical principles, intelligent defensive organization, and a focus on possession and passing. If he can tighten up the defense and figure out how to beat Barcelona's tactics, then Madrid could run away with the league. So that leaves the question, was Mbappe worth it? Well, I believe the problem lies with Real Madrid. Mbappe is world class, but the team needs to strengthen its depth in midfield and defense, while getting an out-and-out center forward. This is basically what happened with the first wave of Galacticos. Perez expected that their superstar signings would carry them through games without covering any other deficiencies. This also happened with Mourinho's Real Madrid team. The team had several weaknesses, including a struggle to consistently beat top teams, inconsistent performances, and a tendency to rely heavily on individual brilliance rather than a cohesive team approach. In this day and age where the system reigns supreme, you can't expect individual brilliance to single-handedly carry you through games. Maybe it would work against smaller teams, but against giants? Not so much. It should be noted that that team also faced criticism for its defensive vulnerabilities and struggles to compete with a world-class Barcelona team. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So Real Madrid has a lot of squad building ahead, and Xabi Alonso has a lot of work to do to bring Champions League glory back to the Santiago Bernabeu. But what do you think? Was Mbappe a waste? What do Real Madrid need to do to improve as a unit? And will Mbappe ever win the Champions League or a Ballon d'Or? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.